Hey, welcome to Half the Battle, and welcome to Half the Battle's 13th anniversary! That's right, we've now been going for 13 years. 13 wonderful years. Now, I tend to only do anniversary videos for, big anniversaries like the 10th and probably the 15th. But the regular years I just let go by. And what I also used to do was at the end of the year in December do a sort of state of the channel video to see what happened and what's going to happen. But I think that from now on I'll use the anniversaries to actually do that. I managed to get this done just in time because September is the actual month. September 2012 when I started doing Half the Battle. So yeah, with 0 days to spare since this comes out on the 30th. Still, I just made it. Now, at the beginning of the year, I had set myself some goals. One was getting to 1 million views, total. The other was getting to 4,000 subs. Now, I know I've still got 3 months to go, but I don't think we're gonna make that. And there are several reasons for that. The big one being that May was a complete disaster. You may recall I had to get emergency surgery and then I had to recover from that, and that made May pretty much a wash. The only thing I could do was put out compilation videos, and those obviously don't do as well as actual episodes. It couldn't be helped, really. I have to once again give a big thank you to HCC7 for really saving my butt by doing a main character May Scarlet episode. As it stands right now, just last week in fact, the channel did get 950,000 views. So we're getting there. And the subscriber count is now at 3,750. So we're making progress and I'm happy with that. Of course, this video isn't gonna really help get those views up because videos like these, only my fans watch them. And I mean fans of me like personally, not the content. Because the most views that I get are always from, G.I.Joe fans, 80s Toys fans, that kind of thing. And that's fine. That's the content I make and I'm happy to make it for them. But I want to thank all of you so much for watching this. And I don't think next week is gonna help much either because that's gonna be a vlog, as next Saturday I'm going to the Vintage Toys of the Universe convention here in Belgium. It's my second year going. I had a great time last year and I'm really looking forward to this one. And if you happen to be attending, feel free to say hello. But yeah, those vlogs also only tend to be watched by my fans. As for what the rest of this year will bring, well, that actually kinda depends on that toy convention. I've got several reasons for going. First, to add to my own collection, of course. Second, to pick up stuff for October for Monster Month. I, at this point, don't really have a plan for what I'm gonna be covering, so I'm hoping to get inspired and buy toys that I can use for Monster Month. And also thinking even further ahead, winter is coming. And I also expect to pick up a lot of stuff for Saturday Shorties. So yeah, the goal for the channel is still getting to 1 million views and 4,000 subs, and I guess we'll get there when I get there. Anyway, now we come to the main part of this anniversary video. I asked on the channel and on Blue Sky and Facebook and Patreon for you guys to send me questions and I'll do a little Q&A. Honestly, I didn't expect to get very many questions, but yeah, turns out there's quite a few. So I even had to curate a bit, so if your question doesn't come up, I'm sorry, I had to keep it to a reasonable amount of time. I suggest we dig right in and I'm sure that you'll have many intelligent questions for me. First, how many goats can you fit in your filming area? Really? It's gonna be like this, huh? In this space, there's only room for 1 goat and you're looking at him. Would a P.O. box be financially viable for you? So, yeah, there are lots of YouTubers who have a P.O. box so their fans can send them stuff. And honestly, if the channel was a little bigger, I would have considered it. But I live in Belgium, and statistically, you live in the United States, which would make shipping stuff here really expensive, and worse than that, even if you send me free stuff and say it's a gift, they're gonna put import taxes on it. Yeah, so it's not really worth it. Non-G.I. Joe toy line you want revived. Huh. Well, the truth is, a lot of stuff has already been revived. They got new mask stuff coming out, though it's quite expensive. He-Man is going strong. Transformers is always there. I guess maybe, and maybe even Hasbro can do this, the original Action Force line from the UK with their own sculpts, but with better articulation maybe. That'd be neat. Would you collect the G.I. Joe line in the 1/32 scale if it included figures and playsets? I've already got the 3 3/4 inch ones, the 4-inch modern body construction ones, and now classified. I think my plate is pretty full, so I don't think so. But if it existed, I'd have to see it first to actually make a decision. What's your favorite toy line other than G.I. Joe? That's tough. I kinda like a lot of them equally, but gun to my head, I'd say Transformers. Though not exactly G1. I think my favorite ones were was it the Cybertron trilogy and Titan's Return and that stuff, where they had so many great updates of original figures and characters. Which small playset do you think would work best in classified? Well, I know that the classified Snowcat is getting the bivouac, which kind of works. I'd have to say maybe the Cobra bunker, but make it an actual bunker, not half one, okay? Next question.
Did you do it?
Yes.
What did it cost?
$29.99 at the local toy store. No, really, somebody asked this. Did you do it? How much did it cost? And I'm not sure if they ever saw our Cobra Convergence Avengers parody or not, and this is just a coincidence, but there you go. How many HISS tanks do you currently own? Shoot, I thought this was gonna be easy. Now we have to go count.
15 minutes later.
Yeah, so if we're talking original HISS tanks from 1983, I have 3 of those. In total, counting not only the times they used a mold from the original HISS again, but also the HISS Mark II, the HISS Mark III, 4, you know, the one with the head that popped up. Anyway, in total, including the classified one, it's 33. I know you've done videos on wrestling, anime, Masters of the Universe, Transformers. So, if you could do another channel talking about that subject, cartoons and or action figures, what would it be and why? Well, I do have a second channel, but it's only for streaming. At this point, there's part of my Danganronpa 2 Let's Play that's up there. I don't think I need a second channel for more toy stuff, as I've got Saturday Shorties to scratch that itch for me. I guess probably if I had to choose wrestling, but like also talk about the shows and the pay-per-views and the action figures. The problem with that is the WWE is a nightmare when it comes to copyright content. I don't know how those guys from OSW Review do it, and it would just be too much of a hassle for me. We know your favorite and least favorite G.I. Joe vehicles. Yeah, his tank and the septic tank, obviously. What is your most average, unremarkable one? You know, never really thought about that. I guess thinking just because of the ranking videos that I did about the vehicles this summer. Still gonna be controversial, but I'm gonna say the Mobat. It's just a tank. Okay, yes, it moves, which is cool for kids, but it also can't actually fit any figures inside it. So it's, yeah, average. Bland. Do you think HCC 788 will ever return? As a full-time content creator for G.I. Joe, no. I definitely think that those days are over. and they're not coming back. However, I know that I can persuade him to do like a cameo or something special if I really needed it and it was a cool concept. I mean, like I said earlier, he really bailed me out with main character May. I didn't even ask him to do that, he spontaneously offered. He's that kind of great guy. So, no, as a regular content creator for G.I. Joe, you're not gonna see him again, but I think he will pop up every now and then. Have you ever thought about collaborating with other Joe YouTubers or toy YouTubers? Well, I have done a lot of collaborations in the past, like I just mentioned, the whole Cobra Convergence thing, and I've worked with HEC708 a bunch of times, but it has been a while. The last time there was any sort of cooperation was, surprisingly enough, already a year ago when I went to the first Vintage Toys of the Galaxy convention, where I ran into Ed's Retro Geek Out. He's a really cool guy and I did a little interview with him. That's part of the video that I did on that convention last year. Go check it out. I don't have any plans at the moment for collaborations, but I think part of the problem is I don't plan ahead so much. And the problem with collaborations is you have to set these things up weeks, if not months in advance. But I should, think about it a little more and plan a little more. And yeah, I hope we'll see some things in the future. Did you play with friends, siblings, or mostly alone? I'm assuming you mean with G.I. Joe and other toys, not like playing outside. Well, I don't have any siblings. I'm an only child. So that's out. And sometimes other kids would come over and we'd play with all my toys then, but most of the time, yeah, it was just me and my toys. Were you more of a shelf collector, or did you really get into it and make up stories for your figures? Or maybe you reenacted the shows and comics? I'm assuming you mean as a kid? Yeah, I made up my own stories pretty much. How old were you in 1982? Well, I don't want to give out my exact age. Kind of a privacy thing, kind of because everybody's collecting information about you. Well, yes, that is a little paranoid, thank you. But it doesn't matter anyway, because here in Belgium we didn't have G.I. Joe in 1982. It started in like 1986, and the first batch of figures we got were like from the year that it was Flint and Lady J, that sort of stuff. What do you think of the recent G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero comic books? I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion because I haven't read any. Like with a lot of G.I. Joe stuff, it's not available here and it would be a pain in the ass to bring over from America. So I can't really comment. What's your thoughts on the ninjafication of the Hamaverse and the focus on Snake Eyes above all else? Both in the original comic and the new comics. No sir, I didn't like it. Too many ninjas, too much Snake Eyes. They could have dialed it back, well, I don't know, 50%, and that would probably have been fine, but it was just too much. When is the G.I. Joe X Motu crossover coming? Yeah, okay, so weird stuff is going on with Hasbro and Mattel. Just this weekend, I noticed they were putting out a He-Man in Optimus Prime armor. What the hell? I'm not sure how He-Man and G.I. Joe would even work. I guess it'd be interesting to see, but it could be a disaster. How far will you travel to find Joes? Well, specifically to find toys, the furthest I've gone is just to the Facts convention in Belgium, which is like a 2-hour drive, so not that far. How far I'm willing to travel? Oh wait, I did go to London, but that was just for a long weekend. But while I was there, I did go and find a comic book shop and found some G.I. Joe toys from India. So if I am going somewhere, I'm always going to be on the lookout. I may be mistaken here, but maybe the unasked question inside that question is, will I go to the United States? And it's not really feasible right now, just because with the crackdown on people coming into the US, if you're a YouTuber, they're gonna assume you're gonna be there to work. and make videos, which you're not allowed to do if you come over as a tourist. So there is a non-zero chance that I'd be stopped in the airport. So no thank you for the time being, not going to America. I have thought about going to Japan, but that's an even longer plane ride. Ugh. Because they have a lot of vintage stores in Tokyo that sell vintage toys, games, all that sort of stuff, and it would be fun to check out in person. Have you considered getting a cosplay mask instead of, well, what I have now? Okay, funny story. 13 years ago, at the start, this was convenient. I had this in the house, and it doesn't completely fit with what a Cobra Trooper looks like, because it's blue, not black. So I thought, yeah, I'd use this for the first couple of videos, and then I'd go out and get an actual black mask thing. But then I didn't, and this kind of stuck, and now I feel like it's part of my look. If I ever were to change things up and do this in cosplay, I would go Crimson Guard. So Crimson Guard torso, but a red cloth that I already have. You can see that when I'm doing vlogs, because this is really thick and really warm, and I have a red one that I use when I travel to make videos, because that's very thin and comfortable. So if I ever change things up, it would be Crimson Guard. And I probably also have a hat with the Cobra logo on it. What was your first G.I. Joe? Flint and Footloose. I got them at the same time. They were a present for my grandmother. Serpentor or Cobra Commander? Cobra Commander. Yeah, no argument. Cobra Commander. I mean, be honest, who didn't get sick of "this I command" over and over again? At least Cobra Commander is funny. Okay, that's the cartoon. In the comic, it's a little more even, but it gets complicated because Serpentor spent most of his time with a fake Cobra Commander. And, it's still Cobra Commander, the OG, not Fred. Yeah, if it's Fred, then definitely Serpentor over Fred. Okay, so I got a few more questions after I already printed everything out, so I wrote it down, and I can't read my own handwriting. That's pathetic. I think it says, what's your second favorite vehicle? And then something I can't read. Oh, worst one. Well, the worst one I've already mentioned. That's a septic tank. My second favorite vehicle. It's probably cheating if I say the classified hiss, right? Because you probably meant from the original toy line. And it's another hiss. And the Terrordrome is a playset, not a vehicle, so that wouldn't count either. Damn, this is hard. I want to say Night Raven, but it is pretty big and difficult to handle, but it looks so cool. You know what, since Cobra takes the #1 spot with the hiss, I'm gonna go with the Tomahawk. It looks great, it has a ton of play value. Yeah, Tomahawk is probably my second favorite vehicle. And that was it. Like I said, if I didn't get to your question, I'm sorry, but this is already freaking long, so we're gonna have to end it here. I want to thank each and every one of you so much for 13 years of fun. And yeah, I'm definitely banking on doing 13 more. Onwards and upwards, more views, more subscribers, more money. Please support me on Patreon. So yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Thanks for watching. And like I said, next week we'll have some fun at the convention. Well, I'll see you next time, everybody. And hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing.